Nobody wants to join us.
Oh, that's good. I think my computer has died on me.
We mean your work one?
Yeah, I can't even get it to turn on.
What are you gonna do?
Use my home computer and just type notes, I guess.
Okay, well, We're recording now. I don't turn it off anymore just because
Okay.
when I do that, it doesn't restart recording. I don't know why.
I don't know what's going on. I couldn't get out of my email or anything before I left, and I tried to wouldn't let me.
Oh, you're right. You did lock up before we left. So that's probably why it's not working. So why don't you do as soon as we're done with this meeting, do a help ticket?
Yeah.
Otherwise you'll lose half of tomorrow.
It's probably all that stuff I was doing with the
Oh.
website.
I'm sure you crashed it based on the website.
I know, I probably did. Oh no.
It's in an eternal loop of death.
I know. Well, that's that.
Now, here's a question. Why doesn't FiPAC have transfers on every agenda just like Board of Selectmen?
The only thing I can think of is, I think last time they didn't have them, so we took it off. I suppose we should just leave it on.
Yeah, leave it, because we leave it on Board of Selectmen every meeting,
Right.
transfers, and FiPAC doesn't do payment of bills, just transfers.
Right. So
Yeah,
I think
leave it on all the time.
Right.
Then we don't have an issue.
Right. Yeah, I think I'll be able to get the agenda off the out of my email, so I can at least.
Well, the agenda is pretty basic. It's just approval of minutes from December 16th, FiPAC meeting. And correspondence, which won't be in the meeting.
Right.
Old business is a health plan renewal. So I imagine Bev will give an update on where we are on that.
Right.
And then new business, do you want to write this down?
Yes.
So new business, 7.1, this is where the whole meeting is.
Oh,
Election.
actually, I can bring it up. I've got the agenda.
All right,
Yeah.
good.
Because I'm just going into my email and just pulling it from there.
Okay, good. This is weird. There's only 6 minutes left. Usually more people are on by now.
I think last time it was a little late too. People were late. Where did they send the item?
My daughter invited us over to dinner to her apartment. She said, Dad, you can just run your meeting from my computer. I go, oh, really? In your 1-bedroom apartment? I'm going to run a meeting.
How that goes.
Yeah, that's not a good plan.
With everybody like walking behind
Right,
you.
walking behind. Hey! Like, no, that's not how it works. I need my office. So they brought dinner here.
Very nice.
Yes. So we'll be having tuna caught by her boyfriend.
Ooh, nice.
In poke bowls, they call them. Like rice and vegetables and tuna.
Oh yeah, those are good.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. They're really good at it. Well, he is part Japanese and he's got it down to a science.
Very cool. Dun. Um, Getting any text from anybody saying they can't get on, or?
No, this is weird. Now we're down to a couple minutes. No text. No public input. There we go. Our first member, Ruth Friedman. Hello, Ruth.
Oh, not Ruth.
Wait, no, it's not.
Let me go change my name. I've been on Zoom for my my work lately, and
So that's your alter ego for work?
no, it's my the owner of the Zoom that I'm on most of the time.
Oh, I know. I always have to change from Beverly.
Yeah, I don't know why that happens. Where is the change your name thing?
It's on under participants. You just hit your
Oh, right.
name, and then it gives you an option of things to do.
Yes. Name being one of them. I wish it had a use this name. It says remember my name, but it doesn't.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
Oh, Rich.
Hello.
Hey, Bev.
Hello, Beverly.
Hello, Mark.
That's a nice piece of furniture behind you.
Yeah, I was just thinking.
Yeah, I thought I'd do something different, be in a different room tonight.
That's very elegant.
Thank you.
Is that a family heirloom?
No, no, yeah, it's called Bev and Bob's heirloom that they bought soon after they got married.
All right, so you'll pass it on eventually to the kids.
Well, let somebody else fight over it later.
Okay, you should put their name on it, whoever your favorite.
Yeah, that's always good.
Depends on the day, time of day, you know.
Right, yeah. Who's called lately?
That's right. Who's closest to me,
I have to
location wise?
get one of my grandsons to love trains because I have a big train collection that needs to be handed down.
That shouldn't be too hard.
Well, you don't know with this generation that might want to only do video games or who knows what. All right, now I thought I brought Ernie in. Is he here?
Yes, he
I'm
is. He
trying
just
to-
doesn't have his
Yes.
camera on.
His video's off.
Can't find it. Oh, here we go.
Hey, Ernie.
Oh, Dick. Oh, God, Jeff's here.
Ha ha ha, scary never stops.
One.
That's good. Two.
One,
Not
two,
committing
three,
that.
4.
I was gonna say, I'm not done committing the 32 pages of transfer to memory. I have them up on my tablet. if I wanna look.
No, I think Jennifer should print it all out for us.
That has to be a special request.
Well,
Special
I know, but the trouble is, we get some of the stuff so late, you can't print it. So let's see, how about a stipend for all the paper and printer ink we use?
I'd be happy to give you a ream of paper, Jeff.
There you go.
Just swing by. I'll throw it out my back door.
Yeah. How about the ink?
Ah, sorry.
I mean, I'll give you the ream for free.
You're right. The ink is the high cost.
Yeah. Set your computer to draft. It uses much less ink.
Oh,
Get the what?
Set your computer, your printer settings to draft and
Setting
then
graph.
draft.
Okay. I'll give that a whirl.
then it doesn't do shading and background and
It doesn't do as much ink.
Right.
It's still dark. It's not gray or anything, but it does.
Huh.
It's fast. It's really fast. It's
Do
a
we
choice
have
every time.
Kelly?
not
Is
yet.
Kelly here?
No,
Will she be here?
I don't know.
Can't
You
say.
have Dick, Brian, Jeff,
Judy?
Ernie, Judy.
How about Mike?
No,
It's been a year since Mike was here, right?
Yeah, he didn't.
Almost, yeah.
Budget in March. Okay, it's 7 o'clock. Let's come to order. Mark, can you do the rules of conduct, please?
happy to, Ernie.
Thank you.
This is a web-based call. We are operating under the following procedures. This session is being both video and audio recorded. Commissioners and staff will generally remain on mute except when speaking or voting, and will generally be keeping their video on themselves on throughout the meeting. If a member of the public creates an audio or video disruption, they may be manually ejected from the meeting upon the recommendation of staff or the chair. For public input before the meeting, please email your comments to publicinput@columbiact.org within 24 hours before the meeting. For public input during the meeting, your comments can be submitted through the chat feature in Zoom meeting, or wave your hand, request that your mic be unmuted, and please include with both methods your name and address.
Thank you.
Welcome.
First, I move that we amend the agenda to add item 7.6 transfers. Second, is there a second?
Second,
Any discussion? All those in favor?
aye.
Aye. Audience of citizens, Mark, do you have anything, or Bev?
I do not,
Nope.
and I don't see any citizens.
Okay. Approval of minutes of December 16th, 2020.
I
Anybody
moved,
have a-
to-
Go
I
ahead.
moved to approve the minutes of December 16th, 2020.
I second.
Listen.
Judy.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I suppose I should do roll call. Vote Dick,
Yes.
Judy,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
I'm a yes. Correspondence, anything in the correspondence that anybody wants to talk about or question? Oh, this is delightfully quick. Health plan renewal. Bev, we don't have much, correct?
Or,
Health plan. Old
oh,
business.
as for health plan, nope. The meeting that was scheduled for today got canceled till next week, so we don't have any renewal information to report.
We know it's probably going up. But we're
Higher than we
still,
want. Yeah.
right. We're still seeing where it's all gonna fall.
How does that first meeting, what's the format of that first meeting you have? With the agent or whoever it is?
Oh, the CT chip meeting, it's we have like a board meeting once a month, and he started discussing the renewal process, seeing if all the entities wanted to stay in, if anybody wants to go their separate ways, but we're in our second year, so there's a fee to leave. There is one that potentially may leave, but they're trying to weigh their options. I can tell you right now that the renewal is over 10%. It's not 20. So, but he's working with the numbers and didn't want to give us exact numbers until he met with Cigna and we were able to have a board meeting. So I think it's next Friday. So hopefully by the next FiPAC meeting, we'll have better numbers. I know there was an interest of having the broker come. So I don't know if you want him at that meeting if we have numbers, or you want to wait until we tell you the numbers.
How about your board meeting? Is that an open Zoom meeting or secret?
I don't know. Mark, do you know?
No, I don't. I've never been asked whether that's a public meeting or not. I'm not sure.
Well, some of us are interested.
I can't see a problem with you coming in, but I'd have to verify that.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find a way we've expressed interest in hearing what he has to say.
Well,
Seems like if we could,
they've been offering, and the broker, our broker, has gone around to other towns to their Board of Finance meetings or council meetings and explained where we are and how we got there. And it might be beneficial to have them specifically talk to us instead of joining a meeting where we're talking about all the towns.
He's
So
willing to come to a meeting.
I think a Zoom meeting would be helpful to FiPAC so they could clearly understand why we did this and where we are and what the future looks like.
okay, why don't we go that route?
Okay. So the next FiPAC meeting, invite Joe Spurgeon in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Kelly.
Hello, sorry I'm late.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi, how are you guys?
New business, election of officers. Currently, I think I'm chair, and we have two vice chairs, Dick and Kelly. What's your pleasure?
I mean, I'd like to, what do you got?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Rich. Dick.
I kind of like co-chairs, to tell the truth. But I don't know if that is an option as far as our rules, how that works.
Yeah,
I mean,
Mike,
vice chairs. I'm sorry. There's no way that we can replace Ernie as chair.
No.
Good. You were making me a little nervous there, Dick. I didn't know who you're going to propose as
Making me nervous
co-chair.
too. Once I realized what I said, I got very nervous.
Luckily, it's a Zoom meeting, so.
They're gonna become useless, but we won't talk too much about that. What am I hearing? Status quo, or is anybody else interested in a position?
I was just going to comment that I think having vice co-chairs was worked out fine. If we can do that, I would. You know,
That
Okay,
works.
if people are opposed, then we could elect somebody, but I think it's good the way it is.
Assuming both of
like-
you are willing to serve, Kelly and Dick.
I am, and I would like to, thank you.
Good,
And me also.
great.
In that case,
For
why
me
don't
too.
we entertain a motion to keep the current officers in their current position, in the same position? Say it better than that.
I move that we retain the current slate of officers in their current positions.
I knew you could say it better than I did. Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Vote Dick,
Yes.
Judy,
Yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes,
Brian,
Yes.
I won't call Mike. I'm a yes. Thank you, folks.
Thanks, Ernie, for continuing to do it.
Yes, thank you.
Not much longer. This is my 20th anniversary. I'm too old for this.
You've got 5 more in you.
185. What are you talking about?
I wasn't gonna get greedy.
You're not that,
Never mind. I was going to joke about the Republicans storming Yeoman's Hall, but
Yeah, maybe not.
Don't go there.
anyway, thank you. Now, FiPAC membership. We have any word from Michael?
No word from Michael.
Okay, let's do something proactive. I guess by law, he has to resign. We can't kick him out, or I haven't seen anything in the law that says we can.
Correct.
Who's the head hunter of the Republican Party?
Richard Napolitano.
Can we or she, or I don't know if it should come from the town administrator. I'm just throwing out an idea that maybe what we should do is draft a letter of resignation for him. Short and sweet. I resign effective immediately.
Mhm.
Put that in an envelope that's addressed to the town clerk. I guess that's who the letter needs to go to, not to the first selectman. And then whoever is appropriate just does a short cover letter that the Republican Party needs to move on in terms of getting their full representation on FiPAC. And we can't do that until you resign. You're required by law to write a letter of resignation. We've done that for you. All you have to do is sign this thing, put it in the envelope we gave you, and drop it in the mailbox. Does something like that sound reasonable?
Yeah.
Has anybody talked to him and asked him specifically if he's resigning and when?
I talk to him on a fairly regular basis, and I've asked him to put a letter together, and he just doesn't seem to do it.
Yeah, okay.
So I see him regularly. I see Richard probably every other day.
When you say see,
See, I actually talk to him. I beyond see.
I think
So I didn't
Ernie's idea of drafting a letter for Mike to sign, and then maybe Jeff, you can have him sign that. That makes
I can take. Yeah, I can stop at the town hall. I'll grab the letter, go down, have him sign it, and bring it back.
okay, who will draft it?
As long as he's there that day.
Well,
Okay, Jen, can you draft something simple and email it to Jeff?
I
You
sure
can-
can.
All right, you do that.
But you gotta print it yourself.
You have a printer?
It's gonna cost a quarter.
Please, I'll print it for you and just come pick it up.
No, you can ship it to me. I can print it.
Sounds like a plan. Why don't we do that? Get it to him. And if you're gonna do it in person, take a pen with you. And don't take a,
Well, you don't want me to just photocopy it and ship it back?
however you want to do it.
All right.
Right.
volunteer.
It should be his actual signature though, Jeff.
Absolutely. I know.
I do think it's important to have someone in place prior to this upcoming budget season. So I'm glad that Ernie brought this up.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Jeff.
Do you think he'll be offended? Is that anything anybody would worry about?
No, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it.
Okay.
If he gets offended, I'll straighten him right out.
Jeff is the soul of tact and discretion.
No comment. Okay,
Wow. Bet you haven't heard that before, Jeff.
And this is a recorded line.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment. I'm just going to take that as a compliment.
okay. Charter revision discussion. Not sure where to start.
Neither are we.
Yeah.
Okay, we touched on something last time, and that was whether or not FiPAC members should be allowed to serve on other committees, commissions. We didn't try to reach a conclusion, but you've had time to think about it. I think a couple of people were saying, maybe that's a good rule. I didn't hear any strong objection to changing the rule. Are we all sort of leaning the same way or not? Or have we
Ernie?
not? Yo,
Can I speak?
you
I
may.
personally feel that we should be allowed to serve on other committees. People who want to be civically involved should be allowed to be civically involved. And if and to the extent that involvement would cause a conflict of interest, obviously we should recuse ourselves from a FiPAC's vote. But I don't think we should be precluded from serving on other commissions.
And
So
Anybody
Ernie,
else?
neither, just like, you know, we disclose our affiliations. I mean, if there was a question about whether they were going to pave my road or not, I would recuse myself from that. You know, we all
Okay.
have potential for conflict in everything that happens in town. And we would just have to rely on people's good judgment to recuse themselves when appropriate. And if we happen to be on the Parks and Rec Commission, we might have to recuse ourselves.
Okay, thank you. I'll go down the line. Dick, did you want to talk?
Can I hold off while I hear what other people say?
Sure, if you want to be wishy-washy. Judy,
Well, my concern is that when you sit on other commissions, and then there are issues, you become very well informed about that particular set of issues. And while they may not affect you in such a way that you would, have to recuse yourself, I still think that it might give some groups a feeling of advantage that is not desirable. I think for the most part that people are ethical and would, try to do the thing that they should, or the right thing. But that's a concern I have.
so if you had to vote yes or no right now, would you vote to change the existing restriction or not?
I think I'd vote no,
No change.
no change.
Jeff,
I agree with Kelly, but I don't see any of these groups really having any advantage of one of us being on a board or something like that. I see a large advantage coming to FiPAC with us being able to report on what's going on with other boards and having a better understanding of the finance and things that are going on. So I think it could actually be helpful to FiPAC in the long run, so we really know what's going on and where some of these boards may be going.
My point
Okay.
was that we know a couple of them or a few of them, and we don't know the whole range. So
Brian,
I mean, I sort of agree with Kelly, I think, to the extent of, I think people who want to be involved should be involved. I think we don't get enough volunteers in this town, to fill all of our committees. And I think that we all know each other enough, and there's enough oversight on this committee alone that if I know that if Kelly or Dick are on some other committee and we're talking about it, somebody can easily point that out and say, make the point on the record that, so-and-so is involved in this committee and it has an impact on the vote. So I think the more you can get involved, I think the better. So I would vote yes.
okay,
Ernie, can I give you one thought?
if you have one.
I do. Some towns have the FiPAC create a liaison representation with different boards and commissions. So they're not a voting member of the board, but they're welcome. Let's say Dick wanted to be the liaison to open space, and Judy wanted to be the liaison to the rec commission. Then you're not a voting member, but you go to their meetings and you're well informed. So when the budget time comes, you're very knowledgeable of what's going on with that committee.
Ernie, I guess I'm ready to speak to it.
Go ahead, Dick.
I've been on 3 different boards. I think that would have the potential for conflict. I was chair of the Columbia Rec Commission for a few years. And they have a relatively big budget. And I think it being the chair particularly would have been a conflict, or even being on the board. I'm not sure if being simply on the rec commission would have been a conflict. I was also chair of the brand committee, and what we were doing is looking to recommend to the Board of Selectmen how to spend the brand money that we had. I think that would have been more of a conflict. And I was also chair of the Columbia Youth Services Committee. And in turn, what we would do there is recommend to the Board of Selectmen issues relating to youth services, which also issues related to funding. So I personally don't think me being on those boards or committees would impact my decision-making at all on FiPAC, but I don't know. It would be, it would be difficult to make decisions in those kind of cases. And now, obviously, you're not going to run in, I don't think anybody here would be on 3 different committees, particularly at the same time. So I guess my inclination is to allow people, well, I'd like to, what Mark said, maybe have people, if someone wants to be involved with a particular committee, they can be a liaison with that committee for the board and attend their meetings and have input into those meetings. So I don't know if it answers anything.
Judy, sounds like everybody's walking all over you.
I wondered what that feeling was.
Most people don't see the need for that restriction. Let's kick around Mark's idea as to whether or not it should be whether or not voting rights, or FiPAC members should have voting rights if they were allowed to participate. Any thoughts on that, Dick?
I like Mark's idea of, now, your question was whether that person would have voting rights on the board or the committee that they were on?
Yeah, is that sort of restriction a good idea, or yeah? Or should it be full participation if allowed?
I guess I would, I mean, I'm trying to put myself into that place of being on that board. I would want full participation, to tell the truth.
Judy, we've stepped on you. I think we're in the process of stepping on you, but if we were to make a change, how about voting rights?
Right. You know what? I don't think I'm quite as personally invested in which way this goes, but yeah, I think it's better to be a full member, particularly if you have a few liaisons, you don't have enough people to be liaison to everything, or you don't have interest. I think if you're going to join something, join it.
Jeff.
I think you need to have full voting rights, but most of us have been here a long time. And there are a lot of policies and other ideas that come up in these committees that we can be an active voting member on that doesn't have to do with dollars and cents. Okay, so, you know, when it gets to dollars and cents, I really think, and I know I myself could step back and say, hey, listen, I can't vote on the dollars and cents. You guys can run with it, but I've got to abstain.
Okay, Kelly.
I agree. I think we should have the ability to have full voting rights. The one sort of modification to my suggestion I would make is that I don't think we should be allowed to be on 2 elected boards. Like we couldn't be on FiPAC and Board of Ed. What I'm thinking of is FiPAC and either a volunteer or appointed board, but not 2 elected positions. I don't think that's appropriate. Just
I agree with Kelly.
Clarify. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Where was, oh, Brian.
Yeah, and I would, Dick made mention of this earlier, but maybe we should not be allowed to chair. I think chairing another committee wouldn't be wise, being on FiPAC.
I agree with that.
Yeah, makes sense.
I was thinking that too.
Okay, it sounds like we're leaning strongly toward recommending no eliminating the current restriction. I guess I'll back up a step. We're having this discussion, Mark, how do we correspond with the Charter Revision Commission?
I would just agree as a committee on a recommendation to the Charter Review Commission. So it's not a motion, it's just a board consensus recommendation to the Charter Review.
Hey, Ernie, could I ask, I'm just curious, I'd like to know your position.
I'm wishy-washy.
Okay,
I should have worked harder to win you over.
But he's already the chair, so he can't co-chair
No,
anything
no,
else.
I never really saw the reasoning behind it, especially given how our town is structured. We share financial
That's a good
duties
point.
with the Board of Selectmen. If you think about it, our budget comes from them. They have as much say in the budget as we do. They have even more say in the transfers than we do. So if you're gonna restrict, I think you should either restrict both or restrict neither.
Hmm.
So that's
Good
sort
point.
of my wishy-washy position. If you're worried about conflict of interest, blah, 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 then you restrict both. I don't think it would be a big problem. I never saw the need for that restriction. But I'm more bothered by the fact that it's not uniformly applied to all people with financial decision-making responsibility.
An excellent point.
Mm.
Thank you. Again, do we have to, how do we get our message? I think we've reached a consensus. There's no big objections here. How do we get that word to the CRC? Do we have to draft something or?
It would be through these minutes, and I will present them to I'll forward them to the Charter Review Commission. So I've already given this board the minutes from the Board of Selectmen recommendations for your review and thoughts. And then I'll include yours to the Charter Review as well. And then Charter Review will look at the Board of Selectmen's thoughts and they'll look at FiPAC's thoughts. And
Okay.
then they'll do what they want and then come back eventually to a public hearing in a town referendum.
Okay, that sounds good.
Can
As
we,
long as we-
can we get an email on what you're gonna submit before you submit it?
Sure.
In case we find anything that we want to correct or change?
Well, all he's gonna do is forward the minutes, right?
Well, right. So I guess, do you want to wait for a whole nother meeting before you look at the minutes and decide if they're okay? Or do you want to just, we'll draft the minutes tonight, send them out and say, does anybody have a problem with these before we submit them to Charter Review? Because Charter Review meets twice a month. They're under a tight timeline to keep going fast.
Yeah, I think that would be great if you could draft something and send it out.
We could
don't wanna hold them
draft
up.
it. We could draft these tomorrow, shoot them out to everybody and say, anybody have any problems? And
Sounds good.
Okay,
we'll just take an unofficial poll because it's not a motion that'll achieve anything. It's just a general agreement on where you want to go with this.
right. That should work. Where am I? Oh, we're still on the same subject. I guess it gets back to I forget who's seen what. Have we all seen the Board of Selectmen recommendation?
And wait, Ernie, before we go there,
Yeah.
Jen, are you okay with what we all just agreed to, that you're gonna type up tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you. That's the
Thank
key.
you.
Yeah, oh, it was nice of you to ask.
He must have done something wrong. Now he's trying to score some boundaries.
Same thing. I was thinking, oh, he needs to stay in her good graces for something.
Well, we had a rough day today. We launched the website and it didn't go well.
They usually don't.
No. Our liaison quit the company and left us in a lynch before they launched.
Rats.
was this for the new town website?
Yes, so it's up there now, but we're just stay calm. We're gonna correct everything, but we're We spent all day today fixing a lot of things, like the fact that you couldn't pay your taxes online. That was a major discovery.
Yeah.
That's
Keep
fixed.
talking about that. I have to
We
run.
got
down a
that
piece of paper.
fixed. Thank Jen for getting the tax online payment option fixed today.
Thank you,
Yeah, we
Jen.
talked about that yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought we didn't have to pay any taxes till April.
that's true.
Some people like to get that done.
Right.
We don't want to impede them. Okay,
Where's
Ernie.
Ernie?
He said he had to
Where's
step
Ernie?
away for a minute. He'll be back.
Okay, I'm gonna go put a log on the fire then. I'm cold.
I'll be right back.
I guess my
I'm gonna go get a pizza. I'll be back in 10.
I had a printout of the Board of Selectmen recommendations for changes to transfer limits, and I can't find that piece of paper. Have you all seen that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Somebody start talking. There must be questions.
Well, okay, going back to when this first policy was set was quite a while ago. And perhaps then the actual budget numbers that they were using worked. But today, I think the budget numbers have grown quite a bit. And we have to be a little more fluid because of that. Expenses and costs have gone up, and I don't really see where trying to hold the same line as we were 10 years ago or longer, actually longer, is viable, or it might impede us from actually doing business in a quick fashion.
And I agree with Jeff.
Yeah, me too.
I think these numbers are outdated.
Very.
And I think it's about time that we adjusted them.
I guess my reaction is, I was surprised at the size of the suggested new limits. I think 500 is low.
Yes.
5,000 is too high.
I think 5,000 is very high.
Yeah.
Since I don't have it in front of me, I can't remember, so you guys keep talking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so there's one that says you can do 500 without approval of FiPAC. They want to move that to 5,000. I
Yeah.
think how hard is it for them to get FiPAC's approval? We meet every month. Half the time they make the transfer anyways and tell us about it afterwards and have us sign off. So I think 5,000 is too high. I do think we could raise these numbers a little bit, but 5,000 without FiPAC approval and 25,000 with the approval of the Board of Selectmen and FiPAC, I think those numbers are just really high. And I don't think, how many $25,000 transfers could they make in a year? It's a significant amount. And I hate the fact that the Board of Education gets to randomly reassign their numbers to do whatever they want. They tell us they're going to spend money on one thing and then they go and spend it on something else. I don't like that. I've never liked it, but I know we're stuck with it. I don't think we should allow it on the town side, which is what this sort of amounts to.
Actually, what I want to hear from Mark is the rationale behind this. And I did read that it was unanimous on the Board of Selectmen that you proceed with this. But why are the numbers so high?
Well, one thought might be, and Ernie and I talked today, it might be one step back that the finance director and the town administrator have the authority to transfer within a budget, an existing budget, like within Department of Public Works, up to $2,500. What happens is we spend so much time moving $35 and $50 and $120 to balance electric bills and gas bills that I don't think that needs to go to the FiPAC and the Board of Selectmen. And the Board of Selectmen want to stay involved up to a certain point, but feel that beyond 5,000, FiPAC should be involved. Now, if FiPAC feels Beverly and I can handle up to 2,500 and you guys want to be involved in everything Board of Selectmen kick in at 2,500 and you approve it. I'm just trying to simplify the transfer process where we're balancing lots of line items on a monthly basis that aren't affecting the overall budget at all. The budget still is fine. We're just balancing different line items based on a crazy winter that spikes electricity or a crazy winter that spikes salt use. You know, it usually between Bev and I, we can handle most of the balancing. And I think Board of Selectmen and FiPAC need to get involved as it gets to bigger numbers where we're changing the focus of the budget. So that's the thought process behind that.
So presumably at the higher numbers, they could hire people, they could bring people on, right? Without approval?
No, you can't hire anybody without, well, okay, I have the ability to hire part-time people, but
Mhm.
any full-time employee has to be vetted through the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, but they could do that if they're hiring somebody. Well, you don't get a full-time employee for 25,000.
Right, you're not hiring a full-time person at $5,000.
Well, you could. You hired them in December, in January.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Well, how about just, I mean, I'm comfortable with raising them. So how about kind of finding a middle ground, like do for the maximum transfer, make it 2,500.
Dick, hold that thought for a second.
Okay.
Let's talk about, to talk about timing. The Charter Review Commission is not addressing this right now, correct, Mark?
Correct, they're not going to address this for probably another month or more. So we've addressed charter sections 1, 2, and 3. Next meeting, we're doing 4, 5, 6. So we're trying to do 3 sections per meeting. And this is section 9. So you're a whole meeting or 2 away before we're even going to discuss this transfer issue.
I
So
only
it'll
threw
be
that
next
in,
month.
no, we don't have to agree on numbers tonight. We can kick this around a little bit, but
Okay.
continue with, Dick, if you want to continue along with what you were starting to say.
No, I mean, what I was going to say is simply find a middle ground on each of these numbers. But I also agree with you, Ernie, that let's take a little time and think about it, and we can talk further at the next meeting.
Okay. Well, let me ask a dumb,
Ernie,
Can I ask a question?
sure.
go ahead, Judy.
Do you have any sense of what other towns our size might be doing with this? They seem like small numbers compared to our overall budget, so I would sort of be inclined not to worry too much about them, but I don't know what's typical.
Mark, do you have any?
Different towns are all over the place. I know from the town I came from, they were under small town state statute, East Haddam. So the 20,000 limit was in play because they didn't have a charter. But it's silent on the within budget aspects. So as long as your budget stayed balanced, you didn't have to do all these transfers. All these transfers are a result of our charter that requires no line item to ever be over budget.
Could we get rid of that part and do away with the rest? I mean, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Well, let's talk about public perception for a second. There are some people who are more vocal about it, but they don't trust anybody in government anyway. If you make a change like this, what is likely to be the public perception that if I weren't involved in this FiPAC and if I were just a one vote citizen, my question to myself would be, why do I even review the budget document? Because my vote on the budget document is meaningless because whoever just talked about the Board of Ed being able to do whatever they want to do, this almost translates to the same thing. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it gives a whole lot of flexibility to the Board of Selectmen all of a sudden. Kelly, talk.
Well, I completely agree with you, Ernie. I think it is a public perception problem, but I also think it's a practical problem. Right now, I have complete faith in the people who are making these decisions. But you don't know who's going to be in charge at any given time. And I think it's fraught with peril. I don't think you can have this much money being able to be moved around in a budget and not have some mistake happen somewhere, either a mistake or something deliberate. I just don't think it's smart to do. I think having extra sets of eyes gives the public confidence in what we're doing. And I agree that maybe 500 is too small, but I would have said 1,000, not even 2,500, especially when it's not a burden to have monthly meetings and have these numbers presented to us. And we're very reasonable. I think, most FiPAC committees would be. We understand the need to make changes. And I do think that there has been 1 or 2 times where we've said no. And rarely, but there have been legitimate reasons why we said no, why we didn't think it was appropriate.
Okay. Has anybody, I have led a sheltered life. Has anybody here lived in a Connecticut town that has a Board of Finance? No?
No.
Because when I read the papers, especially Wyndham, I guess they have the town council and the Board of Finance.
Correct.
The type of stuff that's being proposed here seems to be require Board of Finance approval as opposed to town council approval. And I would equate our Board of Selectmen to a town council and equate us to that town's Board of Finance. I don't know where I'm going with that. I'm just throwing that out
I'm
there.
trying to figure that out too. But I think the general consensus is that we need to rein in their numbers.
Say again.
I think the general consensus is that we need to rein in their numbers. The 5,000's too much, the 500 wasn't enough. Maybe we should, just double it to make it 1,000 or 1,500. But you're right. The perception is if we let them get away with too much, we're relinquishing our control and kind of making the separation, the powers a little less vague.
Actually, I have another question, and this one is for Bev. You're the one that these kind of limits puts the most work on because you have to prepare us all sorts of paperwork and so on and so on to ask for the money. What's your opinion about this?
Well, I do agree the current limits are a little low, so I'm all in favor of raising them. I don't think they should be raised where FiPAC is relinquishing a lot of their oversight. I think 1,000 is the minimum it should be. I mean, if you want to go a little higher, that's fine. But I think 5,000, I agree, is a little high. So on it, but
Well,
I deal with this every day. So, I just do what I have to.
yeah, right. One comment, so I used to be very involved in preparing the budget of the Department of Children and Families, which is the second biggest one in the state, for the state approval and the whole process. And well, it's very cumbersome to move money around state line items, and they did allow a certain percentage. So that if you're looking at a $50,000 line item, which I don't know that we are, but then 10% of that might make sense, but it just gears it towards the size of the budget so that you're not approving every $1,000 that gets moved in a large line item. So that you have some kind of percentage discretion. Now that may be too big of a leap from what we've been doing for people to consider, but it seems like a more logical approach to me.
I have a question.
Shoot.
So these are recommendations that were voted on and approved by the Board of Selectmen. What's our actual authority in this? I mean, do we have anything other than just saying we disagree, it should be this, and does it get completely left up to the Charter Commission?
Yes.
I believe so.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think,
so you're gonna
Okay.
give your recommendations, Board of Selectmen give theirs, and Charter review through public hearing and debate. Will decide what to bring forward to their final public hearing before a referendum. So there's still a lot of discussion that's gonna go on here.
And again,
And
that's
the
key.
bo-
There will be a public hearing, and if we felt it necessary to draft something, a precise set of objections, we would have a chance to do that.
Okay, yeah, that's,
Good.
I understand the process better now. Thank you.
And the Board of Selectmen are considering this charter will be good for another 10 years. So what do those numbers look like throughout 10 years? And that's what a lot of that discussion was.
Mark, can I ask for a clarification on the bullet points that was sent by Jen? So it says 9.13 transfer of funds, page 30, the town charter will be changed as follows. The first bullet point says the 5,000 without FiPAC, 25,000 with FiPAC and the Board of Selectmen. I assume that means anything over 25,000 would require town meeting, right?
With the approval of Board of Selectmen, let's say each transfer shall be limited to a maximum of, we upped it from 500 to 5,000
Right, so that
without
means that
approval of FiPAC. So that would
town
be,
administrator could do that.
no,
you
Board
or
of Selectmen
Bev.
would be involved. Board of Selectmen would have to approve up to 5,000.
Oh, okay, so only, okay,
Right, so what you're saying is we'll relinquish authority to the Board of Selectmen up to 5,000. And
Okay.
then up to 25,000 needs both FiPAC and Board of Selectmen approval.
okay. And above 25,000 requires town meeting?
Correct.
Okay, and then what does the second bullet point mean? I don't understand it. How
That's
is
the
it different
maximum-
from,
That's the maximum transfer. Like if you did 4 transfers in the department of DPW of 15,000 each, once you go above 50,000, well, right now it's 20,000.
oh, so you mean cumulatively, so over the
Cumulative.
course of the year?
Right,
Okay,
then you're maxed out. It's got to go to the town meeting.
okay,
Shouldn't it say aggregate somewhere? I actually think the first one's a little awkwardly worded because it's both a positive and then, or negative, and then the next sentence is a positive, so
And those are both right out of our charter. So if you look at
They're terrible.
9.13,
they're,
that's
yeah,
how it's written
they're
now.
terrible.
right.
Right, so if we
Another
want to
reason
change
to
that,
examine the language because it's,
we could examine
Right
the
on.
language of the charter as well.
Yeah, please. Yeah, because it's a maximum per transfer in the first bullet and the maximum in the aggregate in the second. And that distinction is not made anywhere.
Okay,
So I think that's the point of that. So that does help. And you said something about there's a state statute for small towns and it's limited to 20. Is that
Yes.
referring to the second bullet?
yes.
And should
Yeah,
we
so
be,
that's
Go
how
ahead.
that 20 was established. It's small
Yeah.
town state statute 20,000.
Well,
Okay.
we talked about the statute doesn't really say it's for small towns, I don't think. But you did some research and you bounced it off the lawyer. And they said that's a sort of a default thing. That
Right.
if you have a charter, you can basically do whatever you want.
Right, the charter will trump state statute.
okay. But
I
there
think
seems to be a
we-
reason why the state thinks 20,000 is the appropriate number.
Well, the state doesn't modify their statutes very often.
Right.
And many towns, only little small towns do not have a charter. You're unique in Columbia that for the size of town you are to have a charter for this many years is
Okay,
forward thinking. Most small towns don't have a charter.
all right, at least I understand it a little bit more clearly, so thank you.
Sure.
And
Okay, I
do
think
we-
we'll see what's going on with this, so we have a week or a month to think about it. Maybe we think about the idea of different limits or whether we like this concept at all. We'll hit it again next time. The
Okay.
other thing I noticed that was in the statute, they allow contingency appropriation of up to 3% of your budget. Current charter only allows 2%. I don't know if we have any thoughts on that. Again, we can talk about that one next week. It's just something I noticed and want to make sure everybody's aware of.
I missed that one, Ernie. What?
Our current charter says you can only set aside 2% of your budget for contingency.
Right.
Mhm.
State statute says you can set aside 3%
As a
So-
max.
as a max.
So did they put, are they looking to change it to 3? Did somebody put that together? Or you're just asking in general if we should present
just-
that?
I'm just pointing out that I noticed that we can do more than is allowed by state statute. As again, it's one of those things, let's think about it. If we don't care, there's no
Okay.
pressing need to change it, then we won't change, won't suggest that it be changed. But right now, we are unnecessarily limiting ourselves to a smaller contingency than we could have. Doesn't mean you always have to put aside 3%. It just would give you more flexibility if something like COVID or some other catastrophe would possibly throw in some unknowns for the next budget year.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
And moving right along, MBR update. You sent us
What about
something.
the, I think Mark brought about the policy, the bid policy? Did you want to talk about that? Mark,
Say again.
the bid policy? Mark had a suggestion or something?
Well, we talked about that a little. That's not really a FiPAC responsibility, is it? Or is it?
It really comes under the Board of Selectmen. I was just being transparent and telling you what they discussed in their meeting.
Okay, no, I appreciate that, but we don't need to kick it around a lot. For this issue, we are just citizens who can read the proposal when it comes out in the commission makes a recommendation. And if we don't like it, we can reply as individual citizens. Okay. MBR. I just talked to Bev, and it just occurred to me, one of those random thoughts, hey, I haven't heard anything about MBR. What's going on? So, what's going on?
So I sent you the copy. It should be in your packet.
Yeah, I saw it.
It was.
But what was that for? That was for this year?
Yes, so I did find online, I don't know why the Department of Ed didn't send it out, but I found it. Basically, they said that the overage they're considering over MBR is about $390,500, which is a lot lower than last year, which was like 600 and almost 631,000. So, but whatever number they used last year, they took it out of the factor. So
Well, we're good.
that's the number that they came in for this year. So next year could be different again, but I figured I'd share it with you so you all had at least a copy, an idea of what I don't think they've changed the statute or anything, so.
Okay, just wanted to know if we're gonna get hit by any surprise supplemental appropriation. Sounds like
Nope.
we're good.
We are in compliance again this year.
Good.
Good job.
Moving on, you sent us a copy.
Yes, I
So-
sent you a copy of it last week. If anybody wants a hard copy, I'm more than willing to mail it to you. I haven't gotten them yet, but they have been ordered. So if you want, I'll just mail them out if you all want a copy. I'm gonna need your addresses, so if you want to just send me an email with the address. Or if you don't want it, that's fine. But it was a clean audit again, so everything they said was fine and dandy, and they're looking forward to coming back again next year.
Okay,
That's it.
now for the fun.
Good job. Clean audit is always nice.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Bev.
Bev. Well done.
Yeah, Bev.
You're welcome.
Here's a Zoom pat on the back for you, Bev.
Oh, thanks. I thought I felt something.
Yeah, just- Go ahead, Bev. Hit yourself.
Right. Well, it's better
I'll
than
hit
people
myself.
stepping all over you.
Myself during the whole audit.
Poor Judy.
Okay, transfers. We have, how many? 5,
6.
okay. Start talking.
Start talking. Okay. So the first one is in the facilities. When I did the budget, I forgot about the one payment to Lebanon for the building official contract for the first quarter. So it's just a transfer from Public Works salary line. They do have extra funds in there after transfers to cover the cost of the Lebanon contract into their professional tech line. The second one is a transfer from contingency for $4,200. We have the current inland wetlands agent has retired, but is going to stay on for a little while longer to help train and be a sub. And we also have a new inland wetlands agent. He's being paid a little more than the current one. So I projected out that we need $4,200 to get us through the rest of the fiscal year. The next one is a transfer of $6,550 from contingency. It was decided that since the senior center is closed, they went out and got some bids, and they want to finish painting the interior of the senior center so that when it's open, it's got a nice fresh paint job all completed. So they're trying to get that done as soon as possible. Another transfer of $1,218 from contingency. The tax collector needs it for legal notices. With the tax deferral program, she's had to increase legal notices to explain the tax deferral and the new deadlines and all that. So her cost went up by that amount. The rec department, between some training he had to do and also with that nice holiday light show he did up at Rec Park, he's over budget in 2 lines, professional tech and supplies. So he has extra money in his salary line, so we wanted to move $1,580. Since he has savings in there, his assistant has resigned, so he has some extra funds in the account to cover that. And then the last one is $1,500 from
Waste disposal.
yes, on the waste disposal transfer station to pay for overtime at the transfer station. They're currently using Public Works staff on the weekends when they can't find a sub. Since they only filled, there's an open position up at the transfer station. So if anybody knows anybody. So until they fill that slot, plus there was a couple of the guys that've been out on and off on certain leaves. So to cover that outage, they had to use the Public Works guys on Saturday, which is all overtime. So we're figuring $1,500 will hopefully get them through the rest of the year. So that total is $25,048 in transfers.
And just one side thing, just so everybody knows, our rec director has given his time and helped us to keep the overtime to a minimum. And he's been working at the transfer station during COVID whenever we need him. So that's a big thank
been
you
helpful.
to Mark Volzer.
Yeah.
Very good.
Awesome.
Is there a way we can get the seniors to paint the senior center?
Stop.
There'd be more liability for people falling off ladders and.
Right.
You don't have to get on a ladder. No, there's nothing that tall.
They're not allowed in the center.
I think, Jeff, I think you're a senior, right?
Go ahead, Jeff.
I don't use it.
So if I could make a quick comment, so if the FiPAC, if the Board of Selectmen changes are made to transfers, we basically in this, to put it into practical terms, we would see only 2 of these, correct? We would only see
Correct.
we'd only see the 10,000 and the 65,
Yes,
correct?
if you did if they do the 5,000 limit, yes, you wouldn't see some of these anymore.
I like the stories behind some of these ones, you know, like it is, I think it gives, it
job more
illustrates, well, it illustrates what you learn a little bit more about the department. Like, how would we know, you know,
They're having trouble with the waste.
yeah, or necessarily about Mark, you know, the things that, you know, Mark Volza does. And I don't know,
No, I
It's
think
just-
that's an excellent point.
Yeah,
just a comment.
interesting. Yeah.
I like that comment. That's a very good comment.
So
I move that we approve all of the transfers as indicated.
I'll second it.
okay, we have a motion and a second that we approve all the transfers as presented. Any more discussion, questions? It wasn't, oh God. Dick,
Yes.
Judy,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
I'm a yes. Okay, I have managed to shuffle my agenda away, but I believe that was the last item.
Yes, it was.
Next meeting.
Yeah, I know that. That's not really, next meeting. February 3rd Wednesday. I never know numbers. But, what was I gonna say? I assume no.
February
audience or citizen-
17th.
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 Mark, you didn't get anything on the chat board, did you?
No, sir. I'll just check again. Hold on. Empty.
Okay, sounds like it's happy hour. I'm not gonna go through that silly vote thing on adjournment, so as chairman, I make an executive decision that this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, guys. See you next week, next
Good night,
month.
all.
Happy
Thanks.
New Year,
Good
everybody.
Good night.
Bye.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Everybody be safe.